Hey guys, new video for you how to change brakes and rotors basically on any car, but I'm doing this on my 2007 Dodge Charger. This is going to be a detailed by quick video, so I'm going to try not to waste your time, show you what you need, show you how to do it. We're going to use a torque wrench, so everything the proper way. So let's get started. Up your car, put it on stands. I threw this wheel for extra safety. I put rocks on my wheel so my car doesn't slide back because I actually lifted the entire car. I'm going to do both sides. Put your handbrake on. Turning my wheel all the way to the right so I have easy access to the rotors. Remove the brake fluid cap. We're gonna just gotta remember to close this up later. What are you gonna need? Obviously brand new rotor. This is a slotted one as opposed to the standard ones I usually get. I get these from Fast Source Auto Parts on eBay, about $135 for all 4 brakes and rotors for all 4 wheels. This set was $156 for all 4 brakes rotors for the Charger. Free shipping, of course, on both. This was from Brake Motive 76. Supposedly they're better, last longer, more heavier metal. So we'll see. These would last me about a couple years. We'll see how these do. Brake pads. Some kind of disc quiet lubricant, make sure nothing's squeaking. This set came with pins for the pads, so I'll probably replace them instead of reusing the old ones. You're gonna need a brake cleaner. This is to get the oil off the rotor. You're gonna need a 13mm socket and an 18, probably an extension. I'm using a Tecton torque wrench in this setup, so I'll actually be able to show you guys the proper way of torquing everything. Brushes to clean up any rust, gloves, rag, and also a flathead screwdriver. We're going to use this to pry open the rotor's push rod pin. I'll show you guys what I mean. Let's get started. Replacing, this is the brake dust protector shield that goes behind there. Mine broke off. I'm going to replace this on both sides, but that's a separate video. But I just want to show you guys, as it will be missing when I do this. To show you guys the side view. So you got your brake rotor in here, brake pads on each side, brake caliper assembly that's holding everything. Over here on the right side is the piston that pushes the pads against the rotor to create the pressure. Same with this side, everything compresses. So when you change your pads that are usually worn out, unlike these, because I'm actually upgrading these brakes, that's why these look still pretty good, but usually they're going to be a lot smaller. This will be compressed, so when you put the fresh pads in, it's not going to fit, so you're going to have to push the piston back. There's a couple ways of doing this. I'm going to show you the easy way. When you're junking all this old stuff, you're shoving your screwdriver right in here between the brake rotor and the brake pad. Once you're in there, you push this back. This decompresses the piston back all the way. That way you're going to have all the space you need to install the new pads. So that's about it. I'll show you guys later the other way you can do it as well. Caliper assembly. We're going to start with these 2 guide rod pins here. Those are the 13mm sockets, one here and one on the bottom. Once we get that off, we're going to move down here to get the 18mm bolts that hold the rest of the assembly. One up top, one on the bottom. So first the top 13mm socket. Bottom. One piece of advice, regardless if you're using gloves or not, anytime you wrench down, you don't want to hold like this, because if you miss or fall off the bolt, you're going to slam your fist right into the ground. Have an open palm when you push it down really hard to protect your hand, so you smack the ground instead of crushing your knuckles. Just a little safety tip, as it happened to me before. Now this slides off. This is that piston I was telling you guys about. I'm going to bungee this up here in a second so it's out of my way. You don't want to mess up your brake hose. You can pop the pads off. What I meant is, only if you're throwing your pads out, you want to do the method with a screwdriver, as you will damage them. Now we're going to get the 18mm. big bolts off over here. Sometimes you might need a hammer to loosen it, especially if you don't use a torque and over tighten it. I did that many times. Finally decided to invest in a torque wrench. It was about $30-something for the Tecton. Great reviews on it. I'm gonna have another video showing you guys how to use it as well. And that's all taken off. Next, we're gonna pop up the rotor. Sometimes when they're really rusty, they're gonna be stuck, so you might have to give it a tap with a hammer to get it loose. The rotor's off. Grab your wire brush, brush off any rust and so on. Once you get all this cleaned up, we can begin the reassembly. So next, before you install the rotor, you want to clean off any grease of it. One thing I forgot to mention about these are also zinc covered, which supposedly keeps the rust off all these sections a lot longer than rotors that don't. Both sides. And now we can put it on. So the rotor is going to slide right on, and that's about it. Now we can prep all this, clean it up, and reassemble the caliper assembly and the brake pads. So you're going to pop off the old clips. If you're reusing them, we're going to clean them, but since I got new ones, I'm just going to use these. You want to get all this cleaned up with the brush as best as possible. Less rust, the less chance for squeaking. In addition, to the lubrication. One thing we're going to do is we're going to check the guided pins. You want to make sure they're lubricated as well. So there's some dirt in here. I'm actually going to clean this off and re-grease it fresh. That's very important. You want that action to be smooth when you're compressing the pads. So that's one thing I forgot to show in the last video. Pop this guy back in. Yeah, we're good. Same with this one. Sometimes they're gonna be really stuck. You might have to use a wrench to pull it out. Same thing. So this is all cleaned up. I cleaned this before already, so it's pretty good. I'm gonna grease that part up before I put the clips on. Anywhere there's contact, you want to have grease, otherwise you're gonna get squeaking. Can't spray at your brake pads to stop the squeaking. That's all about the vibration here. Get the clips, grease them up as well. Pads are this is the bridge between the assembly and your pads. You want to make sure everything's greased up. Put this guy in here. That's it. Get in here too. Now with the next one. We're all good here. Everything's greased up and ready to go. Show you guys. So this is the piston. I already cleaned that up and greased it up as well. It's depressed all the way. If you didn't do the screwdriver trick, what you can put is an old brake pad against it and use a compression tool to squeeze it down. Or there's an actual caliper compression tool available as well. There's a few ways of doing this. I like the screwdriver as I'm always replacing, old set. So So right now we're going to reassemble this first portion of the caliper assembly with the 18mm bolts. We are going to torque this to 70 foot-pounds. That's the specs for this. It was actually really hard to find the specs for this. It's not in the manual. I checked a few forums and people shared it. So it's 70 pounds for the 18mm bolts. And then it's 44 pounds for these 13mm guide pin bolts. So I got my torque wrench set to 70. If you guys want to how to actually see how to use this properly, I did make a separate video that you can check out. But basically we're waiting for the click, and this only works clockwise, meaning like to torque something down. Once we hear the click, we know we're good. So, all right. There we go. That's 70. Now same with the bottom. $70. There we go. You don't want to go any more because then you're going past the mark. That's it. Next is the top assembly. So now we're gonna reattach the top assembly. Before we do this, we want to put our pads on. Make sure you grease up all the connection points here as well. We don't want any vibration anywhere. And these are gonna slide in right into the clips. Just light them up, push them in, and that's it. Same with the back. See why you guys need the space to push the piston back? Look how thick this is now. Now we're just gonna slide this guy right on over the pads. Get your guide bolts, 13mm wrench. And these we are torquing down to 44 pounds. Remember, front and rear is different. So for the rear, it's gonna be actually 85 for the big bolts and 23 for the small bolts, believe it or not. So I'm just gonna tighten it up with the little wrench first. Now let's torque it. I already set it to 44, so I'm good to go. Got the click, we're good. Got it click and we're good. So this section is all done. It's all assembled. Everything's nice and tight. I'm gonna put the wheel back on, lower your car. One thing you don't want to forget is cover your brake fluid container, reservoir, whatever it's called. Pump your brakes. So everything's nice and tight with the pads over there. And yours all set. That's it, we're all done. Thank you for watching. Definitely invest in a torque wrench if you plan to do more of these jobs. It is worth it. You're gonna do it the proper way, avoid any damage to your bolts and so on. This was like 35 bucks from Amazon, Tecton brand, good stuff. I really like it. That's it. I have more videos coming, so please subscribe. Thumbs up. Any comments, questions, let me know. Thank you. One thing I forgot to mention is the torque specs for the lug nuts when you put your wheel back on. So on the Charger, I'm told it's 110 foot-pounds. So set it to 110. Got the click, and we're good. So one quick last tip. And this lot of rotors look pretty damn good on the car too. So to show you guys, this is the Brakes and Rotors about 6 months later. It's May 2021 now. We did them, I think, late October. So as you see, the zinc coating is actually working great. I don't see as much rust as I normally would on the regular rotors. So it was a good investment as of now, and they do brake great.